There it is right there. Woo-hoo-hoo. Good old Philadelphia Spectrum, which was known for the most craziest, most exciting professional wrestling moments in the entire world. And coming up on Off the Top Rope Thanksgiving Eve, live on the CEV Sports Podcast Network, as well as the Ropes Media, your boy Ty Asbury has a special treat for you. CEV's Eric, Paragini, and Chris, Leif. The three of us come together with our own 5-on-5 Survivor Series teams. Never been done before at the Spectrum. So we decided to come up with this special episode, a Thanksgiving treat for you. Watch it on this special edition of Off the Top Rope Thanksgiving Eve, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch the best wrestling podcast around with some sizzle, it is Off the Top Rope. Yeah. It's Thanksgiving Eve, and you know what's going down. I'm your boy Ty Asbury with the live special edition of Off the Top Rope. And these two gentlemen right here, they know the Spectrum, they know wrestling. That's why I had to bring them on tonight. These two guys are killing it. Also with the CEV Sports Podcast Network, Eric, Perugini, and Chris, Leif. They are in the house tonight. My brothers, what the freaking is up?
We're doing great, Todd. Just glad to be on your show. Been waiting to do one with you. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys took the time out. I know both of you guys are busy to make up your Survivor Series twists and turns and teams and everything. So I'm excited to hear them. I'm sure everybody else watching live as well is excited to see what you guys came up with. So honestly, you guys, you say the best for last, so you guys are definitely I'll put it this way. I'm going to pretty much go first, and you guys go last because the greatest go last. So I'll go first, and pretty much the first question I got to ask both you guys right now: when you look at the Spectrum and the Wells Fargo Center, do you think when they tore the Spectrum down, did that wrestling like fever go over to the new one, or like it was gone? Like, what do you think?
I actually think it did. It was. I used to go to a lot of events there with my father back in the day. He used to get tickets for me and my friends, and we'd go. Actually, the very last wrestling event we went to was during the Monday Night Wars. And so I mean, like it was like one of the first times that Sting had come down out of the rafters and was like surrounded the NWO and was playing his mind games with them. But oh God, I had so many great memories of going when I was a younger kid with my father. He had fun just watching me freaking out. Like whenever Hulk Hogan's music would hit or the Warriors music would hit, I would just start freaking out. And then the older I got, it was throwing up the 4 with the Horsemen. Oh my God, and to this day I still do it. So yeah, I think it went with it. I do, because it's not the same at the center.
Chris, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, you know what? He's right. It's not the same. The Spectrum. I mean, I go back to the Saturday Night Main Event. My favorite wrestler was Junkyard Dog with the chains and everything else. So he, JYD. He's always my favorite wrestler. Growing up, I had the little finger puppets. I had to have JYD versus Hulk Hogan. And I've been to Raw a couple times. I've been to if you guys remember Crime Time, I want to say it was maybe it was a Survivor Series. I think it might have been Lita's last match. Like she got fired and Crime Time stole her clothes. So and it just it wasn't good. Like it just the energy wasn't there. And I went to the match and then I went to Raw in 2016 where Vince McMahon came back, and it was after Roman Reigns destroyed Triple H the night before, and put him through the table, and then Stephanie came out, and it was a pop. It was a pretty loud pop, but when he won, I got excited. I jumped out of my seat. I don't know why. Like I was like 38 years old. But it was fun. It was funny. I go back to that because as I took my son and my buddy Bill, who's a big fan, we went, and a commercial came on like during the thing, like an advertisement came on about buying a diamond ring for your girlfriend, and somebody screams, "You got the wrong clientele here for people who have girlfriends." I was like, "Oh my god!" But like the energy just isn't there. Like the Spectrum. I don't know. It's an iconic place, almost like Madison Square Garden.
I think it has to do more with, like, the Spectrum was small. It was tiny.
Yeah.
So there was more. It was more intimate. The acoustics were great. That's why it was such a great music venue. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It's smaller. The center's more corporate, bigger, popping, and everything. So that's my thought.
Well, I think when we first, we got together and we talked about wrestling before, the three of us, and I got along with you guys, about, coming on, CEV Sports, which I love. My first event, like, was SummerSlam 90 at the Spectrum of pay-per-view. My grandfather was like, I think you're ready to go to wrestling. I was like, hell yeah. I mean, pay-per-view, SummerSlam at the Spectrum. So I'll never forget that. And one thing, Chris just brought up a good point. He went to Survivor Series 2005. I was actually there, so I don't know if we ever crossed paths, but I mean, it's still there. But I remember going to a Raw there, and it was when Hogan was feuding with Shawn Michaels, and Hogan knew what to say because he said to Shawn Michaels, he was like, "Shawn Michaels, when you were a young buck in diapers, I was selling out the Spectrum, brother." But he said it in the new one. So, but that was pretty cool that he put the Spectrum over, saying that he was there. So, and he did sell it out back in the day. But you fast forward years later, and here we are, and we still love the place, and that's why tonight we are here. We got our Survivor Series teams. So I don't know which one you guys want to go first. No, you know what? I'll go first. So I even made a special graphic for the occasion. I'm gonna pull up my my match here, my match clip. So here we go. This is my guy, Team Heenan, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude. They're like a Minnesota kind of thing. Brock Lesnar, heel Christian, and Randy Orton. And Bobby Heenan's in their corner against Team Canada, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Edge, Bobby Roode, and Kevin Owens. And Bobby Heenan's old feud and broadcast partner, Girl Monsoon's in their corner. A special referee, I got Roddy Piper up in the place. So I didn't know what you guys thought, but I was like, there were some feuds in there too. Perfect and Bret, and so yeah, that's what I came up with, and I thought that would probably sell if that ever would have happened.
That's a good one.
I like that. I like the Team Canada because I don't know if you remember, they had the Canada thing back in the Un-Americans with, I think it was Edge, Christian, and Test. Yeah, and then like it was, I think Lance Storm ended up, or yeah. So Lance Storm wasn't part of it. Lance Storm was in the WCW one. I'm gonna go retro. Does anyone remember Major Guns?
Oh yeah.
And she had the Canadian flag, like
Yeah.
God bless Canada. But like that's a good team. I like the Canadian side. Edge and Christian. We all know what Edge is. Christian, he's making himself into an icon again. I feel like Christian's everywhere.
I know.
Yeah, because I think with like I put Christian on and Edge on opposite teams because maybe you know how Bobby Heenan can get in somebody's head and saying why don't you come over to my team? We know Bobby Heenan was the man, and I just think there are some feuds in there too that like Eric said for his Survivor Series thing where some feuds go into Survivor Series. So and I think, and plus Roddy Piper, who can control everybody. And Piper, you guys know, Piper get in your face in a minute and say, hey, get back in your corner. So, and that's why I came up with that. So I'm really excited. Everybody's excited too. So I don't know which one of you guys want to go next. So I'm excited to hear what you guys came up with.
I'll go next. I'll let Eric go. Well, who do you have anybody winning your match, or is that for the end of the show?
Probably, I'm gonna say it to the end of the show.
Okay, so for me, and I was very specific. One team, I got Dolph Ziggler. He won the Survivor Series in 2014. With the Authority. So I think he was good that match. I also have Triple H, as he was the Authority. And then, for me, you got to go with Triple H's bodyguard, Diesel.
Diesel. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I go with Randy Orton, part of Evolution. The first time, not the second time around.
Okay.
Although the Legend Killer, having him now isn't as bad either. And then I got Roman Reigns, the 2020 champion to the 2021 champion.
Okay, represent. Okay.
Like, you just going through that, managed by Paul Heyman, clearly.
Nice touch. Oh, yeah.
So, then with the other team, I got Seth Rollins after he turns on the Shield.
The Shield. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
That's a good one.
Keith Lee, when he lost to Roman Reigns.
Oh, okay.
After he eliminated, he was like a 3-on-1. And then, we all know Keith Lee, that backstory, everything else. So that for me, that was it. The Rock, when he came back from Hollywood and he was a heel and he was just terrible at it. Like he was, I don't know if anyone remembers that. He had that stupid entrance where it was like
guitar.
Oh, it was terrible. He was terrible. But it's the heel factor and how bad it was made it comical. And and obviously, Rock's charisma. And then gotta go Hogan, NWO Hogan.
Oh yeah.
Spray painting people in the ring. When he pushed, he pushed Kevin Owens with his finger, and he got that. So, and then I got Brock Lesnar now, the one who's been suspended, who comes back, who's the babyface.
Babyface. I like the babyface.
But he just hits like how he, when he destroyed Michael Cole a couple years ago, and then he came back and did the same thing. It's the same gimmick over and over again, but I love it. Like I always like Brock Lesnar because I just look at him. I'm like, that dude looks like he'll really just beat you up.
Oh yeah,
really beat you up and not lose any sleep over it. Managed by Jim Cornette.
Wow. Oh yeah, I love
So I mean, obviously we all know about that.
Yeah.
So I got a special guest referee.
Okay.
Anybody have a guess? Like I'll give.
It has to. It ties in with all these people. Like it has to tie in somehow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you tell me.
Stone Cold.
Special. Oh, okay.
Because he don't mind handing out stoners to anybody.
True. That is true. I really like that. But we're gonna see all of our outcomes, who wins at the end.
Absolutely. I got two more things.
Nice.
So I got two special enforcers. They both tie in. Ric Flair and John Cena, because John Cena's chasing Ric Flair's titles.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then my announced team is CM Punk and Booker T. Two guys, if needed, will get involved if anything spills over onto the the table or the Spanish announce table.
Man, you took it a notch up and just put like special enforcers brought.
I told you. I was bored. I was caught up in all my work, and I'm like, let me type this up and let me really think about it. And wait till I have who's winning the match, and
I want to hear all the scenarios and twists and turns and everything, and we got some really cool. And everybody watching the show live, I'm gonna read the comments pretty soon because I'm sure everybody's coming up with their own little things. And that's why we're here tonight to have fun on Thanksgiving Eve. Talking wrestling on Thanksgiving, it don't get no better than that. Now, Chris, he laid the smack down with his just marvelous, like, just storytelling. I love it. Eric, it's all you, man.
All right. Well, I mean, I didn't go as deep as Chris did because we all know Chris just likes to talk. So that's why he went deep. He just wanted to talk and dominate your show. So,
Absolutely. Here, I'll mute myself.
here we go. I went two teams. I went with Team Austin.
Okay.
Okay, so Team Austin consists of course, captain is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I went a little old school with Dusty Rhodes. Then The Undertaker. Then Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Triple H.
Wow.
Okay, so then.
Can I ask you which Undertaker? The original Undertaker?
Yeah, it's the original with the gray and black because that was my favorite. I just like the big, the Frankenstein type monster that couldn't be stopped, basically.
Well, that's a nice touch because remember he debuted at Survivor Series, so that's yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great tie-in. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So, then they face off against Team Rock. Okay, I took, of course, Captain The Rock. And like I said, I made these teams on one of my favorite feuds in wrestling, and then threw in one amazing WrestleMania match, which was great. So Rock versus Austin, that was one of my all-time favorite rivalries. They always had, 3 WrestleMania matches. Rock, finally got the win over Austin in Austin's last match at a WrestleMania. So, I mean, their feud was amazing. I loved how their chemistry was in the ring. It was great. Then for Team Rock, I have Ric Flair. I have Mankind.
I love it.
I love it.
I have Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. And Shawn Michaels. So,
wow. Oh.
Yeah. So, like I told you about the Austin and Rock angle. One of my favorite rivalries ever was Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. I mean, that's where Hard Times came from. Ric Flair was the reason that Dusty Rhodes came up with one of the most iconic promos in wrestling history with Hard Times. So how do you not have that in the Survivor Series match? Then with Undertaker going against Mankind, their rivalry was just phenomenal. And then throwing Mankind off the cell like that, nothing like that has ever happened. Never happened. Changed wrestling history then it changed wrestling history. Then I went with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage for one of my all-time favorite WrestleMania matches. Is brought them together, WrestleMania 3. It was amazing. That is probably the greatest wrestling match ever wrestled, to be honest with you. A lot of people use that as the footnotes and the video to watch if you want to see, two great iconic wrestlers go at it. So then their rivalry was amazing. It was awesome. And then I have Triple H going against Shawn Michaels. When they had that feud, that one whole year when Michaels came back, I mean, they went through every match you could come up with and just beat the crap out of each other for an entire year. But yeah, I don't have special referees. I don't have enforcers. but I do have a surprise for my match. So
now the Triple H and Shawn Michaels one, is that when Triple H was bringing back DX and then he turns on him in the ring and just annihilates him?
Yeah, it was when when Michaels had come back after like being gone for so long with his back injury and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And I believe their first match, I forget what pay-per-view it was, but it was basically no
Slam. It was
it was SummerSlam. Yeah, it was that no holds barred match. Michaels came out. He was ready to fight. He had his sneakers, like wrestling boots on, and he was wearing jeans. And that was an iconic match for me. I loved it. And that was just so much fun, that match. But yeah, that was that version of Shawn Michaels when he came back from there, and when Triple H was kind of like, no, I'm DX. I was the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, listen, I love it. And what's funny is if you look at your team, you actually have good rivalries all along. Because go back to the Stone Cold and Undertaker. when the Undertaker, when he put Stephanie to the cross and like everything else, like
the ministry.
Like just like that's it. That was a great rivalry for the 90s.
It was.
Like it's it's stuff like that just isn't there today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people forget. I think people forget how great that storyline and that feud was alone. Let alone the Rock and the Austin feud, which was my all time favorite. The Rock could sell a stunner like he got shot in the face.
He could oversell a stunner.
He could, it was funny how it was just great how great he could sell. He's flying across the ring and people are just falling back like this. Like he was a great seller. Like, and that was what made The Rock so great with his charisma and how he could put over anybody when needed.
Right.
Man, you guys just nailed out the park with some really cool like scenarios, feuds, and teams. Like I just love it, and everybody's just blowing up with the comment section. I mean, we got some people saying, for me, Team Canada's losing that one. So I'm like, well, I got everything sorted out. I'm sure you guys do too with your outcomes and picks. So I'll definitely start off, and I'll go back to my definitely my graphic that I had earlier on the show, which I had. I went all out just like, of course, Chris did. For me, I actually have Team Heenan winning this one because if you go back to SummerSlam 91, Brett got the IC title from Perfect. So I'm sure Perfect never forgot about that. So I got Perfect and Brett, the last two win, survivors, to end out the match. And of course, Heenan, he cheats for Perfect to help Perfect kind of get that win back over Brett. So Team Heenan actually goes into Philly to the Spectrum, and they take it. So I got Perfect and Brett, the last two guys in, and Perfect, takes the win. And Survivor Series at the Philadelphia Spectrum, baby.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Now, like I said, I mean, Chris went all out. So Chris, I'm ready, man. How's it going out?
Let's see how good of a match booker you are. Let's see. Come on.
Yeah, and this is why I'm doing podcasts. Obviously, right. Obviously, we got Ziggler, Triple H, Diesel, Orton, and Reigns, and Heyman there, and versus Rollins, Lee, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, NWO, and Brock Lesnar. So ideally, Hogan just walks out. He doesn't have a care in the world. He has no desire to deal with any of these 9 other people on both sides, and he just walks out. With that being, he gets counted out. Now they're down to 4. Winning the match would be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, with interference from the Usos.
That's understandable. Well,
and then Brock Lesnar just destroys the ring. I have him laying out the Usos, laying out Reigns, like just going and just picking them up and just manhandling them. I have him F5ing Paul Heyman on top of Roman Reigns.
Nice. Very nice.
Like, I'm telling you, I was bored. I went all detail. But yeah,
I really think WWE, the way their writing can be nowadays, I mean, they definitely should talk to you two guys, and you guys should definitely apply and put the resume out there. But it's just really cool. All of us. I think the thing about all three of us is we're wrestling fans. I think when we all watch it, you kind of like, do you ever get that vision like maybe like I would have did it this way, or maybe you kind of like pick and poke at it. I think when you're a fan. So, but
you know what when you had on, I'm going to go back in the past when you had Russo on. I think it was Russo, and or me and you were just talking about how, like on an episode of Raw, for like 2 weeks you would have, the bad guy win, and then eventually next week you would be rooting for the good guy to come out and make the save and get his revenge, and you don't see that much anymore. You just don't. Like it's like they had a great thing going, I think, in my opinion, with Lesnar and Reigns, which I think could go until till WrestleMania. I just think it's something that they could have kept going instead of they have the suspension, but I just think there's missed opportunities for the brand.
I really think one thing that seems like is really missing in wrestling outside of Paul Heyman, it seems like there's no badass heel managers anymore. I mean, Heyman's still carrying that, but it's like, Jim Cornette, he stays away from it. Bobby Heenan, God bless him, he's passed on. So it's just a lot of things that are missing with today. And, you always ask yourself, who's going to be the next badass, heel manager? And, time will tell when that'll happen again in wrestling. Now, Eric, it's all you, my brother.
Okay, well, after the introductions are made, okay, I got my guys. They're all there. They're at the ring. It starts off Taker and Mankind. They just go right at it. They're in and out of the ring, and they basically just start fighting to the backstage area, and they disappear. We literally don't see them anymore. They disappear. Okay, they're gone. They hit the boiler room. That's it. They're and we literally don't see them. Right? They start having their own boiler room brawl. They just disappear. So everyone's standing around like, okay, well we got to start going. We got to get the match running. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels start. They start taking it over. They're wrestling. They're doing their thing. H tags in Dusty. He's now facing Michaels, who quickly gets out, tags in Flair. So you get the Flair Dusty battle going, and Flair actually beats Dusty. All right, I have him coming in and beating Dusty. Then you have like Austin and Rocker in there. Then we get Steamboat and Macho Man. They come in for a while, and then Steamboat beats he beats Macho. Like they're like the actually only ones that actually wrestled the entire time. He beats them. So we're now down Mankind. We're down the Undertaker. They just disappear.
Can't find them.
Right. Can't find them. They're totally gone. Michaels and Triple H are there. Flair beats Dusty. So now Austin's team is down. Him and Rock come in. They're battling it out. And then out of nowhere, here come Mankind and Undertaker through the back. They're fighting their way through and all this stuff. They come out for a quick second and back to the boiler room again. There they go. They're back now. Now they're making their way to the parking lot. And then somewhere along the line, the lights go out, and here comes Sting.
Nice.
Sting comes walking out, and he joins up Team Rock. And Sting's putting a whole bunch of whoop ass on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then all of a sudden, the Hollywood Hulk Hogan music hits, and here comes Hollywood out, and he takes down Sting.
I love it. Because that was a feud too. That was a feud.
Yep.
Steve Hogan. Yeah.
I saved them as the surprises because that was an awesome feud. I mean, the build up for over a year with Sting not doing nothing but sitting in the rafters. It was amazing. I mean, and for the people sitting at home, they didn't know that like on the weekends or whatever, Sting's actually wrestling and keeping himself in shape, in dark matches and doing stuff on on little house shows. All they see is every Monday night, this guy's just sitting up in the rafters collecting a check, and you're like, what's he doing? What's this guy doing? But in the end, I have Team Austin beating Team Rock, with Austin getting his revenge on The Rock for ending his career at WrestleMania.
Now, the question I have is, I love it with Mankind and Taker just disappearing. Now, since they're going to the referees say, look, we got to these guys got to go because they want to get in the ring. Like, so.
Oh, yeah, they eventually just get counted out. And then, like I said, they eventually just get counted out. And then, like I said, we see them come out from one side and go right back out again, just like hitting each other with trash cans and crap, so it's like.
Well, it's funny. You just bring up the boiler room, and I just think of like when SmackDown came out on PlayStation 1, and that was one of the matches where you could just fight in a boiler room. Like,
yes. That was one thing that made me think of it. Like I started like playing the video games too. Like it was all that kind of stuff. I love it.
I really love. I think it'd be cool since this has been cool. Both of your teams, both of your matches were great. What you guys came up with, being at the Spectrum, I could see Mankind and Taker on Broad Street like fighting, like like, well, we got to take us outside. They're on Broad Street. Like,
well, I mean, think about it. How cool would it have been, like when the Rocky statue was outside of the Spectrum? How awesome would it be to say, "Oh no, we got footage of Undertaker and Mankind outside," and you see Undertaker throwing him face first into the Rocky statue? Like, how awesome would that be?
Or you see Mankind falling down the Art Museum steps.
Yeah.
He hits him as he's rolling, bah, 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 making a sound rolling down the steps.
That's great. So you think about it. You had the surprise of Sting.
Yeah.
Think about the pop at the Spectrum.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Guys laughing.
I really love it. But the fact that, like Chris said, they're like, oh, we got footage at the museum. Mankind's going down the Rocky steps at the museum. Like they're like all over Philly, different shots.
Oh yeah.
Well,
look,
that
they're
was
on 95 right now. Like just crazy stuff like that.
Well, it's funny that you said that because I believe it was a Monday Night Raw that was in town. If I'm not mistaken, was it Monday night? No, I think it was a pay-per-view because I think me and Bill were there. Bill and I went like last minute. We had these like obstruction seats this is at the center, but we had last minute seats. He knew somebody, Ticketmaster. He got cheap seats, and the whole show, The Rock was making his way through Philadelphia to get to the show at night, and it was just hysterical. I absolutely loved it, and it's funny that you said that, talking about the art museum steps, and oh god, just so great, so funny. But yeah, I mean, that'd be great. At some point, they're, Undertaker gets thrown into the Delaware or whatever, so it's like.
and I mean, it's just really, like I said, you guys like had me busting out laughing on the show, and it's really stuff that, as a fan, like you guys said, Sting at the Spectrum, like, I mean, that'd have been like just like insane. I mean, imagine like if Rock and Austin ever would have been at the Spectrum, like that place would erupt. Even Hollywood Hogan being there.
That's why I saved Hogan to come out last because I mean he's like the legend. I mean, like Sting's an icon, but Hogan is the legend. So you bring Sting out first, you get the amazing pop. And now people are on the edge of their seats going, oh, my God, is Hogan coming out? Is Hogan coming out? And then, boom, hit the Hendrix music, and here he comes, and he's just, what you going to do? Yeah, I love it. It would be so great.
Now, we'll do cross brands. So imagine that when he's just standing there doing his guitar thing, and then the Legend Killer comes out and just RKOs him and walks off. Like, just think about it. Like, as crazy as it is, like, that's stuff that would be great writing that you could and he just walks away like.
He just RKOs him. He freaks out like his Randy Orton thing.
What just happened?
that would be kind of cool. Hogan's getting ready to walk down the ring, and here comes Orton. Boom! Hogan's laid out. Sting's like, I'm going back to the rafters.
Pull me up.
All right, where's that damn crow?
I definitely want to add the reason why I picked for my team for Perfect getting the pin on Brett is because we all know how Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan always argued on the booth. They kind of had that feud, and I remember I pictured in my mind during the match that Monsoon's like grabbing Heenan over by the ring, and Heenan slides in like some brass knucks of Mr. Perfect, and he decks Brett, puts him in the Perfect Plex, and so it's kind of like a cheating thing on because Heenan could have pulled that off, throwing something in the ring, and Perfect caught it, and because they were great together too, Bobby Heenan and Mr. Perfect. So, but you guys definitely came up with some kick ass like scenarios. Like I definitely love it. And Chris said it. We got to do like a cross brand. We got to we'll do definitely something more kick ass the next show we do when it comes to this creativity with you two guys. Now, I promise at the end of the show I want to ask you guys, since we're talking about the Spectrum, a lot of memories there. do you guys think they should have torn it down, or should they have kept it and used it to generate more events?
I'll let you go, Chris. What do you think? I gotta think a minute.
You know what?
I mean, because I was torn about it.
Yeah, like you said, I get why they tore it down. I don't know because there's not many stadiums last from the '70s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not like the Flyers or Sixers have exclusive games for the NHL and the NBA, like how they have the outdoor classic. Like they don't have like a retro game where you wear retro uniforms. Like if they would have did something like that to keep the spectrum open, yeah, that would have been all right. But I don't know, just tearing it down the way they did them kind of dirty, and I get why they did it. So I was a little upset that they tore it down. Listen, I was there when Ron Hextall scored in 1987.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of iconic moments for me. When for stuff that happened, like my uncle used to take me to the Saturday Night Main Event because he would get tickets. My other uncle worked for Upper Deck, so he would get hockey tickets, and it's just how my love for sports. So like when that got torn down, a little piece of me went. Like I wasn't as emotional as the Vet as I was the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Well, I went to a lot of Phillies games growing up.
The Vet, yeah. It's just one thing. Like I said, I'll definitely let Eric say what you got to say, and I'll make this real quick. But the one thing I never understood about the Spectrum is I read this one fact. Out of all the years the building was up, it only had like 2 pay-per-views. It was King of the Ring 95 and SummerSlam 90. I don't know why Vince never had more pay-per-views there or Monday Night Raw, but that's for him to answer. I don't know, but that's it was more house shows than I know like WCW when Vince moved his shows over to the center. WCW has some nitros at the Spectrum, so Bischoff started moving over to the Spectrum, which was cool, but it was weird seeing WCW at Vince's old place, so
yeah.
Before you go, Eric, Vince probably didn't put a lot of shows at the Spectrum, if I'm guessing, due to the success of ECW.
Yeah.
Like ECW is huge in Philadelphia. Like,
yeah,
Philadelphia's always talked about being one of the most iconic wrestling towns, in history, and they don't get enough love. They don't. Like, why hasn't WrestleMania been at the Link? Like, think about it. Like, you shudder. Like, just imagine like a great match. A no holds barred match. They go from the Link to Citizens Bank Park, which is across the street. Like it's stuff like that where, again, like Philadelphia doesn't get enough love. You pointed out 2 pay-per-views at the Spectrum. What?
Yeah.
Like, and that one that you're talking about in '95, I was at that one. That was an In Your House King of the Ring.
Yeah, that was King of the Ring, and then nothing against. I remember Nash. We all know when Nash got the belt, he was Diesel. Vince wanted to really go long with Nash, and I remember when Nash came out as champion, it just wasn't working. I mean, I like Kevin Nash, but it just wasn't
right.
A Hogan pop like it. SummerSlam 90 when Hogan and Warrior came out, it was different. But it's always more like 2 pay-per-views, like Chris said, 2 pay-per-views at the Spectrum. But that's Vince. That was his call back then, and can't go back to that.
Yeah, and Chris, like you said, it's with how come there hasn't been a WrestleMania at the Link? Well, number one, I think the Link's just too small. They go on a grand scale, like they're where they go, their stadiums are like now they're holding over like 100,000 people. So it's, I mean, like
it isn't that hard.
No, it's not that hard, but it's not. I don't think it's big enough for the WWE. I don't think the Link is big enough for them. Like, I don't think that they would have a problem having one if it was like they had to do it, like if there's no other option. But if anything, they're going to want something like when they had WrestleMania at Silicon Valley. I mean, look, that stadium is just monstrous. You know what I mean? So, But back to what you would ask, Ty. A part of me was really upset when the Spectrum went. Um, I was at the very final Flyers game at the Spectrum. They had if I'm not mistaken, it was like a preseason game. It was an exhibition game, and I still have the ticket stub for it. But yeah, we were there for it, me and my buddy, and we walked out of there. And I'm not gonna lie, like I get emotional about stuff, especially sports. And I remember walking out of there, turning around, looking, and I was like, had tears in my eyes because I knew that that was the last sporting event that was going to be there. Now, Pearl Jam had a couple concerts there to actually close out the venue, which I felt was awesome because it was as iconic as it was for sports. It was just the same for music. And at the time, like Pearl Jam closing out the Spectrum, you can't get anything better than that. So part of me died with the Spectrum. I had a lot of firsts there when it came to sports, and I remember the very first hockey game I went to that I could actually remember. Like I'd gone to a few when I was younger, but I remembered when I was able to take everything in, and you could hear the people banging on the support rafters and everything, and I took all that in. I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, this is what sports is. But yeah, it part of me died with it, but I understood why they did it.
Yeah.
Like there just wasn't enough to sustain keeping it open. Business decision. So, but yeah, I was sad. I was sad.
So I want to go back. We got a couple comments and your comment about being big enough. The link for WrestleMania. WrestleMania was held at Levi Stadium, correct?
It was 1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. They seat 68,000. The link
Okay.
seats the link seats 67,594. Now somebody said, because of the weather and they can't they can't seat enough people and there aren't hotels close enough. They had it at MetLife State. Is it MetLife, New York? I don't know.
Yeah.
They had that in April. They obviously we've been lucky. Of course, the 1 year they'll have it at Philadelphia, there'll be 13 inches of snow on the ground. We know it's going to happen. That's why bad things happen in Philadelphia. The one time
That's probably the biggest reason why it's not there ever, because they can't trust the weather.
But New York's only 90 minutes away, or New Jersey.
Doesn't matter. We're never going to get it.
Oh, no, I'm
We're
saying
never going to get it.
So at the hotels, there's I don't think people realize how many hotels are downtown.
Center City's got a lot, and it's not far from the stadium
Right,
district.
you got the Holiday Inn off of 95, like when you're going to Delaware Ave. You have the casino there. They have a hotel. I mean, it would be a good venue. I know Philadelphia's put in for it a couple times.
They have.
Maybe they can just maybe they can just move Citizens Bank Park and the link together.
But actually, I did read somewhere. I think the way they do WrestleMania now is cities bid on it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I do think when Philly did bid on WrestleMania to be at the link, but I don't know if it was. Of course, I know you guys will say boo. I think maybe Dallas or somebody beat them out. And the original plan, they was going to have WrestleMania at the link. They were going to do like a 4-night like special, like NXT and Raw, SmackDown, and Raw, SmackDown, NXT, at the center, and they were going to do WrestleMania at the link. But that was Philly's proposal, but they just didn't.
That was why the city and WWE came to an agreement where I believe it was they got a couple. Billy would know this too. Where they got a couple. I think it was SummerSlams or something. They did sign a contract where the WWE would be here for like 2 big events a year. Like,
Yeah,
I think it was like a couple.
Royal Rumble, but yeah, WWE is definitely is what you call it. They do have a deal where, because they come often.
They come to
pretty often now. They were just here for SmackDown. So yeah,
Yeah.
WWE and Philly have a really cool relationship. So, but I'm definitely, this episode of All the Top Rope with you two guys has been definitely cool, and I want to know. We all want to know too, because I'm actually really happy to be a part of the CEV Sports Podcast family. So, if you guys, you can't really tell all of you don't have to. So, what's up next for you guys with CEV Sports? What are you guys looking to bring on and everything? Because you guys are doing really good work with the network.
Well, I mean, we're trying to get on a set schedule with our podcast. It's going to be Mondays at 9. We actually have a Zoom meeting with someone from Tennessee on Friday. More information about, it's the Albert Hainsworth Network. They had reached out to my other partners, and then I reached out to them. So, that we'll see what that brings. Other than that, we have, we talk we did an Eagles show last night, talking about, Jalen Hurts, and then we have the 910 Sports Show on Sunday mornings. God bless them, getting up at 9 a.m. and talking for 2 hours. Like, they're phenomenal. Jacob and Eddie, and I forget the girls' Crystal. Like, they're good. And then obviously your show, we look forward, to your show with the way you've built your show since you've come on. It's an easy watch. You get right into it. It's not too long. It's not too short. All the information you have is right there. Eventually, you have Francine in the works, which is phenomenal. You had Vince Russo, which was great.
Vince Russo, and I really appreciate both the feedback from you guys. I will say too, and I still keep in touch when I talk to him. That was probably hands down probably one of the best shows I've ever done, and he makes it. He's just easy to talk to. When you have somebody that's easy to talk to, I really think that's where you just get a good show, with that person. So, but thanks for Rich, everybody saying the show is awesome. So I definitely appreciate that. But I'm gonna close out saying to you two guys that thanks for coming on the show. I had a fun time. You guys had me laughing. Of course, Eric with the Macho Man. Chris.
Yeah, brother.
Chris getting down and everything, which I said it, both of you guys should right for WWE. But I had a really good time tonight with the show, and most importantly, you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I'm going to be checking out what you guys come up with next here on the CEV Sports Podcast Network, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Ty.
Happy Thanksgiving to Rich, Drew, Eagles, 30 podcaster. I forget what their name was. Everybody who joined us, thanks for the comments. And make sure you watch for the next Off the Top Rope.
Like Chris said, watch out for the next episode of Off the Top Rope with your boy Ty Asbury. I'm out of here. Peace out. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless. Stay safe. And get your grill on. We out of here. Have a great night. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch the best wrestling podcast around with some sizzle, it is Off the Top Rope. Yeah.